Hello, everyone. This is Dustin with Family Memories, and tonight we're going to be talking about renaming multiple pictures at once, also called doing a batch rename. We're going to be using Adobe Bridge, and somewhere in your workflow, when you've got lots of scanned photos in this case, or digital, really any digital photo or digital image, once you have a number of them, it is cumbersome to rename each photo one by one. So Adobe Bridge makes that really easy. So here I've got some photos pulled up. I'm on the light table, and I've got a couple different sets of images here. And so I'm just going to rearrange these a little bit to make them easier to get to, or to group together is really what I've done. In everyone does this a little differently. I think a lot of people use folders, and they put the different groupings of photos in the same folder, and that certainly works. And so I'm not really going to, this is not really best practice on how to organize those, but at some point you're going to want to rename these photos, and that's where we're at this point right now. So I'm just going to, for simplicity's sake, I've got two different sets here, and I'm going to select one of these. I've got three photos that I want to rename all of the same. They're related for me as far as either a time frame or an event or people, however you group them and want to rename them. For me, this is photos of family when they were younger. And so I'm going to rename those all the same. So they're just come off a scanner. They've got just some basic scan number on them. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can, once you've got your images selected, I've got three of them, you can right click and say batch rename, or you can go up to tools and you can do batch rename. There's also some shortcut keys. Control-Shift-R will also allow you to do the batch rename. Once you do that, you've got a pop-up window here on specifying all the details to carry this out. We're going to build one up here. So there's lots of options in here that makes it really customizable to exactly what it is that you want, what you need, including whether you want to just rename the existing photos, or once they're renamed, move them to a different folder, or copying them to another folder if you're doing little pieces of little small batches out of one folder. So depending on your workflow, that will set to determine which way you want to go. For this example, we're just going to rename the pictures and keep them in the same folder. So down here, we've got what our new file name will be. We've got some options. Right now, we're going to leave these other options alone. So we're going to worry about new file names and the preview. So right now, you can see down here that I've got text, and this is what I'm going to call it, and its image. And so we'll just call it test for a minute. I'm putting an underscore to kind of separate things out. But you'll see below there's a current file name is scan001 as an example, and the new file name will be test_.jpg. So that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to build this up. We're actually going to add another option to our file name. I call it building up a file name. We're going to build up the pieces. So I'm going to add another, and we get another drop-down box, and we can type in some more text. Again, there's different options to pick from here. We're going to stick with just a couple for simplicity. So I'm going to call this, because I like to start off with a year. This is 1979. And I put underscores underneath because it separates out the pieces of it in the file name itself. Just makes it easier for my eyes to read. So the second part is going to be, this was the who's in it, the family name. And so you can see below our example, it takes those two pieces and puts them together. It's 1979 underscore Crosley.jpg. I'm going to add a couple more pieces because I also want what it's about. So I'm going to put underscore there for the separation. And this is going to be, this was Matthew's birthday. And so you can see below, it's putting all that together. I've got just one more piece that I like to do, and that is instead of text, I want to do a sequence number, because they can't have all the same name, it won't work. Most file systems and most operating systems, they don't allow the same file name in the same folder. So we're going to add a sequence. We're going to start at sequence 1, and you can pick whatever you want there. It's helpful if you've already done some and you want to start a sequence further down the line. But I'm going to start with 1 here. You can pick how many digits from 1 to 6. I'm going to pick 3. You can see below it's done 001. And so that'll do it in sequence. The first one will be 001, then 002, then 003. So that example is looking exactly the way I want it. So once you are all set, you can hit the rename. And we'll see here in a minute, we'll rename those. Goes pretty quick. There's our 3, been renamed 1979 with the rest of our file name. We'll do it one more time over here. It's a batch rename. And you see that it's remembered our last use, and it has it all set there. But the pieces are different. I want to keep the same format. This is a little different. This one's from 1975. It was a different family name. And the event or the whatever other thing that's the way that I've been doing it, I'm going to call this the Black Hills Vacation. And you see that my sequence is 4. In this case, I want to rename it back to 1. I'm going to start this renaming of these photos back to 1 instead of 4 because I've renamed it something different. Down below I can see the 1975 has all my pieces there, 001. It's going to rename those 3. So I'll hit rename, and voila, I've got exactly what I wanted. I was able to do that on multiple photos at once. You can do 1 photo, you could do 1,000 photos. There's quite a variety of things that you can do for options. It's customizable for your workflow. This is just an example, but it does make things very nice to be able to rename multiple pictures at once without having to do them by hand, one by one. So hope that helps.